Hi, my name is Lona Muthania Uchido, and I'm making it one of my life's mission to demystify the speech therapy field and to empower more parents on what they can start to do in order to optimize their child's communication outcomes. So whether you want your child to talk more or talk better, learn better, and overall optimize their potential. So stay tuned and feel free to send in any topics on speech and language development you'd like for me to tackle. Hi and welcome. Today's video, I'm giving you some tips on how you can get your child to stop repeating what they hear others saying. So this kind of repetition or copying is referred to as echolalia. So echolalia is when you have a child that is repeating verbatim everything that you say to them. So I also call it parroting. Many people also call it parroting. It's like a parrot. You say whatever it is you say to the parrot and the parrot says it right back. So for example, if you say to the child, how are you? Instead of saying I'm fine or I'm good, they might say, how are you back? So have you ever met children who did that? It's mostly for children that are on the autism spectrum disorder. Not always, but mostly, because there are also other presentations that you find children will echo or will present with echolalia. Echoing or copying or echolalia is actually a very typical form of language development. Children will often echo right at the beginning when they start to learn how to talk. So my 2-year-old, when he was about 18 months, I know he would copy a lot of the things that a lot of children do. If you say, mommy's going to the shop, mommy, is going to buy milk, and the child will actually repeat, buy milk. So they keep repeating. And usually by about 2 years, they stop repeating everything and they now start generating some of their own responses. So it's no longer echoed speech, but you can see it's a bit more linguistically, like it's responsive to what is being said. So why do children echo, or what causes echolalia? So many reasons why a child might echo, particularly children that are on the autism spectrum disorder. So one of the most prominent reasons is limited vocabulary. And limited vocabulary, I must say, is also typical of other children that are not on the spectrum that are echoing. Some of the children might actually have some processing issues. So they can hear, but they're not really making very good use of the sounds or the language that they hear. So they repeat it back the way it is. So if your child has poor vocabulary, or limited vocabulary, limited number of words that they know, they might be more inclined to be echolalic. Yeah. Another reason is there are children that just display rigidity of language skills. So again, most of the children that are on the spectrum, the autism spectrum disorder, are just slightly rigid, and so a child could be using echolalia to serve certain functions. So they might be repeating words that they've heard before and or phrases, and somewhat using them in an appropriate-ish context. So this child could be coming to you and repeating something that you always say to them in a particular context. So maybe if they're eating and they're not as focused on their food and they're probably just a bit fidgety, you might just say, stop, eat your food. So they're eating and then you say their name. You might say, Josh, and they'll say, Josh, stop, eat your food. They repeat it, but because they know that is what normally comes after that statement or that context, in that context. So it's somewhat appropriate, but not fully appropriate, because they've said back their name, and then some other way that echolalia would show up as just rigidity is, again, these children, they know when they give a response, that if this is what normally comes after the response, like for example, if they have done a good deed, they have picked up the toys, they might just say, well done, good job, or good boy. So they finish picking up and then they almost like praise themselves. They'll say, good boy, because they know each time that has happened in the past, you've said that. So this just rigidity. Yeah. Another reason why a child might echo is it's a form of almost like self-stimulation. It just keeps them comfortable, and really I feel like as well it can be because they might be a little bored sometimes, or they might be narrating back things that they heard, so it's like delayed echolalia. Yeah, so they're not repeating back what you're saying right then, but they are repeating what they heard, maybe an advertisement on TV in a very inappropriate time. It's not like the ad has come on, but they've just saying it. So when that happens, again, the way to now tackle echolalia or get your child to stop echoing is different depending on why your child is echoing. So that's why I wanted to establish why children would echo. So this is one of the techniques that I normally use to get a child to stop echoing. So first of all, if the child is echoing because they have limited vocabulary, then it's only fitting that that child then starts getting exposed to more vocabulary building activities. Check out my video on 4 foolproof tips to get your child to talk more, so that you can start to use some of the techniques that I talk about there to teach vocabulary. So if that's the case for that child, you'll see that they'll start to copy less. If the reason why this child is echoing is because they are just rigid and they are, they're rigid, they sort of know the context of what is said in each context, but just they don't know how to manipulate the words flexibly, then you can tackle, for example, you can do this, and this always works actually. So if you say to them hi or hello, and they usually say back hello, actually if you say to them how are you, and they say how are you back, so you can say how are you, and right after you say the response that you want them to say. Yeah, so it will be, how are you, Josh? Good, thank you. It sounds strange, but it's almost like you're answering yourself. So then this child will probably just echo the last bit. So it becomes like an over-practiced thing. So you might have a set of the social questions that elicit echoed responses, and you over-practice with that technique. So if the reason that your child is echoing, again, it's because of that rigidity, you could then tackle various questions. So if they're always copying back the question, you could say, oh, how about this time we're just going to tackle one particular genre of questions, like what is question or who is question, and start to teach responses to that kind of question, and then do lots and lots of drills that the child then starts to see a predictability of the responses to that one kind of genre of questions. So try those tips with your kids that might be echoing, and let me know how that goes below. Subscribe to our channel if you haven't already. Hit on the notification bell to be notified each time I publish a new video. Thank you so much for watching this video, and I'll catch you later.